I interviewed the lovely Patricia Corey last week. She sends her regards and her love to you. She mentioned something to me which I want to run past you and get your view on this, that Homo sapien originally had 22 illuminated DNA strands and we now only have 2, and that they were shattered due to the schism which you talk about and she referred to as something else.
Yeah.
And basically, I just want to know if you could tell us more about that and if you know any more on this research.
Well, that fits into what I've just been saying. There has been massive manipulation of human genetics to stop us perceiving what we used to perceive. For instance, I mean, this is an interesting point. These reptilian entities, if you look at some of the real ancient accounts, they talk about these reptilian entities living among them. And then suddenly they weren't living among them. So what do they do? Where do they go? What happened? Well, if you at one point had a much wider frequency range of visible experience, you could see far more, then what if these entities were within that range? What would they do? They'd live among you. What if you then manipulated human genetics so that you could only see a much narrower band of frequency and experienced awareness? Those entities are still where they've always been, but you can't see them anymore. So they disappear.
It's interesting. Credo Mutwa actually said on one of the interviews you did with him that vaccinations caused the children not to be able to see UFOs, other spirits, and other entities. Do you think that this is what the whole program was when they started making vaccinations, and does it affect us in that way? Do you know anything?
Well, I think that the vaccinations have multiple reasons for being, and the reasons they want to get that shite inside us. But one of the really common themes that I picked up over many years in ancient and modern accounts is the desperation of these reptilian entities not to be exposed, not to be identified, so that they can go on manipulating without us realizing they even exist. And another theme in the ancient world, and Credo talks about this among other accounts, is that the people were told never to depict them, the gods, as they were perceived, as they really looked. So you have a great range of symbolic representations of them that, unless you know the codes, you wouldn't realize that's what they're symbolic of. For instance, Credo Mutwa has this ancient necklace of the mysteries, and it's got a human woman on it, and then it's got a male that is clearly not human, but is not reptilian. And Credo was saying this represents the reptilians, the Chitahuri, the children of the serpent, as they call them in Zulu. And I asked the obvious question there. Well, why is he depicted like that as not reptilian, but clearly not human? It's because of the same thing. The people were warned, you must never depict us as we really are. So there is a desperation not to be exposed, and that tells us something. If something's all powerful, it wouldn't care. It wouldn't care about being exposed. But it's a real common theme. The thing is, the power is with humans, but only when humanity understands that. This is why we've got this constant life to death, cradle to grave, not life to death, there is no death, cradle to grave process of implanting the belief that we're little me, we're Joe Public, what can I do? I have no power. It's a constant mantra through your life, and it's kind of underpinned in endless different ways, and it's to keep us in the myth that we have no power, when we're all powerful once you realize this true nature of what humanity is and what we really are. And so the ability to perceive, the ability to access beyond visible light, where you can access information, awareness, and insight and inspiration that can give you a much greater fix on this world. People that can get out there psychically in various means and see beyond visible light, or perceive in many ways beyond visible light, these are all enormous threats to the control system, because you're starting to enter areas of perception and awareness where you can start to understand what's actually going on. Because it's not something that is easy to find within visible light. It's hidden very, very well. But once you get out beyond that and expand your consciousness, you access those levels where you can get a grasp on what's actually happening. So anything that can suppress that ability to expand your consciousness and access that understanding is supporting the control system. So in terms of this body computer, it's also a receiver transmitter of information. That's why it's crystalline. I mean, we've got trillions and trillions and trillions of cells, and the membrane of every cell is liquid crystal. I've looked down a microscope at my own blood, which was increasingly, as I watched, more and more and more magnified, and eventually my blood became quartz crystal, right? And so this is a crystalline receiver transmitter. Now, if that receiver transmitter is